Hey guys, XJ9 here, and today's gonna be a video about the boss, the Gate of Elidinis. This is a really just a my thought type of video. So I might do the boss a little bit in the background, but I also just want to talk. So if you're interested, stick around. And it's just about my opinion. So originally, when this boss was released, along with the majority of people I should talk to, I was like, this boss is like I even put that in like the description in my comment section, but I edited it, and because it's really easy. And I also don't like that solo is so easy compared to group, and group mode again is neglected. But I kind of understand why it's easy. And again, we are max. Like, what if someone with 90 mining is doing this? What if someone with even I'm not even sure how low you can go. Maybe a 70 or 80 mining. What if they don't have a pickaxe of life and death? What if they don't have I don't know what else. What other? I mean, this boss doesn't honestly require a lot, honestly. But like, what if they're like just new to PvM? Like they only did quests, and oh, you know what? I never did Courageous, but I'm gonna do this. Like I only use Necromancy for Slayer. I'm gonna try out this boss, and I think Courageous is a little bit daunting because I remember when Courageous was released, it was very complicated because you have to have all these people, and people didn't really understand what was going on. And this boss, it's not really that complicated. It's kind of just like how you learn if you're going blind is just click on things and see what happens. And I think overall the boss is fine because if you look at the boss and look at its rewards, so let's go to the Gate of Elidinis, right? And it's look at so it's 70 combat, but it is a skilling boss. But regardless, it's like it drops an Eclipse Soul per Codex, right? It's a level 75 prayer and level 75 in all combats. That's pretty low, and also encourages people to try out all four combat styles to get access to the prayer. And I think that's good design too, because then a new player will like dabble into all four the styles. I just think that going from 70 prayer to 95 was a big ask, and this fills in like that mid tier PVM requirement. Because it is 75 prayer only, compared to 95 prayer with for like terminal soul split. But it does require 75 all combat, so I think that kind of makes up for it. So I would place this between like tier 80, tier 85 prayer in terms of like difficulty to access it, which I think is fine because I think it is strong. I think also even high levels can benefit from it. I think the only real style that's going to really benefit from this is honestly just honestly either speedrun melees or magic. Magic definitely, because crit. The more crit you get, it's very exponential with magic. Uh, this codex I think will allow even content creators. I might even make it. Like videos like tier 80 with or like tier 85 with using the Soul Prayer Codex at Vindica, or using it at I don't know Raksha. Because I actually do think this fills in the mid tier gap that is long overdue, because Soul Split's been such a dominating meta. Like you need Soul Split at PVM because low levels don't have ways of healing. Like they depend on like sacrifice and regenerate and stuff. But now it's like, oh, they can actually have a source of healing, and I think that's actually really good for the game. I also think again, the other codex that you need to make this viable is the one from the not hard mode, but from the Sanctum of Rebirth, the prayer codex that gives you it's the all four styles are boosted. You do need that, but that's really cheap and really easy to get regardless, so that's very easy to access as well. And I just think that it helps combat the price of the Praeso Codex that's been a bill for a long time. So it'll probably go down a bit because now you don't. Not everyone needs it. Not everyone because now the normal prayer book is actually competing with the ancient prayer book. Because so someone might be able to buy this prayer book, Sanctum prayer book, and just use that and not even worry about using ancients because, or not the curse spellbook, right? And the reason is because their DPS isn't as high, so this healing from this prayer is actually a lot better for someone with less DPS than someone with 600k, 800k, a million DPM, right? And the other rewards is just like experience, which is nice. It just fills in that just a skilling reward. Again, more experience. Just another pocket slot. I actually like this because people use the scripture a bit sometimes just for experience, like, or if they want it just for experience. But then a lot of the cost is weighed heavily towards the fact that it generates clue scrolls. So I like that this book is just pure experience compared to, you know, experience and what do you call it? Clue scrolls. I also like that, again, there's 4 different souls when you're training. I haven't tested this, but it sounds pretty cool. And then, there's a rune crafting offhand and a divination offhand. Divination offhand is insane, and rune crafting, I haven't tested it, but it's probably really good. I think it's overshadowed by protein essence, though, sadly. I think if protein essence didn't exist and treasure didn't exist, this would be absolutely insane. It'd probably be a bill. Which also, it always makes me kind of, like, I am a firm believer that I think if Treasure Hunter was removed, I really feel like this game would be more popular. I even feel like they should do a test. And again, I think they should make like 5, 10 worlds, maybe like 10 worlds, and have a new RuneScape server. And I would say it's permanent unless like, I don't know, it was so unpopular it died. So like, we want to make this a permanent like game world. And hey, it's gonna be probably a permanent game world unless it's like absolutely dead, like 10 players, and it's gonna have no treasure hunter, and I honestly almost don't like daily challenges. I honestly feel like daily challenges shouldn't even give flat experience. I feel like a lot of things in this game, if it's not the core method, I feel like it should just be bonus experience. I know I'm kind of like I'm not even talking about the game list anymore, but get me here. Let me finish my thought. So say they made a server like that, I guarantee it'd be I think it'd be really popular. And I have a feeling it would be so popular they would be like, okay, we're gonna make the main game like this, and then they could merge the worlds with Mainscape, or maybe they would. Maybe they'd be like, hey, do you guys want to merge, or do you want to have just be your separate game, or like separate type of world, like almost like a server, because RuneScape's not like a typical MMO like say World of Warcraft or Dofus where there's 5 servers. If you join a server, you cannot interact with the other 4 servers. Maybe they would ever do something like that. That'd be interesting. When you think, I think it would be. Um, so again, the rewards are fine. The boss isn't that hard, and it fits the difficulty like of the rewards. So a boss like Raziel, he drops best in slot Necromancer gear, and Necromancy's like literally again to me the strongest style in the game. With no exploits, no stalling, yada yada yada. Most consistent style, safest style, lowest effort, and he's so easy. Like compared to other bosses, he's so easy that him dropping this, it doesn't make sense. Like he should have maybe even just dropped, I don't know, maybe just the armor in normal mode, and hard mode has weapons. Like they should have maybe made a hard mode of the boss, something like that. I don't know. Where like this, like say the dot dropping of this is like maybe like 50% higher normal. Hard mode is like it drops the weapons, and this is like the normal drop rate. Why didn't I feel like they should have did something like that. So with Razio, he's so easy, and his rewards are so good, and I feel like it's kind of spoiling players because the Gay Elidinis, it's so easy, but again the rewards aren't that good, but I actually think that's a good thing because if the boss is easy, the boss shouldn't be dropping best like the meta changing reward. I would say the divination and runic tuner are meta changing for rune crafting, scaling, but people don't really talk about scaling. But I think these are really strong. But like specifically about combat, like this prayer codex, like it's good. But is it meta changing? I mean, I think it's probably underrated right now. I think it's really good for Magic. Like, I honestly think it's only good for Magic, honestly. Because all the other styles like kind of need Soul Split and wouldn't really benefit too much from the crit chance. So again, the codex is honestly mostly aimed towards the mid-level player, and so the rewards fit the design of the boss. Like, okay, there's some skilling things. So, hey, I'm a skill. I'm 90 or 80 in my stats. I'm doing this boss. Oh, I got a runic turner or a memory dowser. I can now train better. Like a memory dowser is honestly insane for trading divination. Because I hate doing those riffs every hour. That was annoying. And or I got a prayer codex. Like now I can use this and not have to worry about getting soul split 95 prayer or something like that. And I think that's the most important thing people need to remember. Like some people say, oh, the boss is too easy and the rewards suck, but it's like I don't think this boss isn't made for people like me who like just I want a challenge. I want mechanics. I don't really care too much about power creep. I really don't. I only care about like interesting different playstyles. Like I want a melee bleed playstyle. Like that's the things I want. I want a tectonic set effect and a bleed set effect. Like two different like that's the type of stuff I want. I don't want like I just want 10% more damage flat. So I think they did a good job in terms of what the boss was set to accomplish, which was this make people used to scaling boss, used to the concepts, good mid tier rewards, fill in the because again, Jax does talk about how the mid level gap of like PVM is kind of garbage. Like when you hit like level 70, 60, even like 80, it's just there's nothing there. So I feel like they're trying to fill that gap. So I do hope some people. I mean, if you're still listening, I honestly hope maybe you understand this perspective because the people that there's a I think most people are just gonna do this boss for a collection log or the 1,000 KC and then just leave, and that's fine. And again, 1,000 KC out of his boss is a lot. It's like 33 hours plus, and like not everyone needs to do it. It's not a requirement. You don't need to go for the collection log, and I think that's how the game should be. And someone like, and again, the one thing about this boss that I think is also I should have probably mentioned this earlier, that is kind of not talked about at all is the experience rates. I'm 5.8, but I was doing this on my other account, and the experience rates don't seem that bad. Like when I was climbing the pillars to dunk the boss, it was 4K agility experience every single time. So that's like what 12. I'm not sure if it's based on my stones or something, but regardless, if I were to do let's just say 15 kills an hour, right? That would be how much? Like what? Like 160, 150k experience in agility an hour? That's not bad. And I'm not sure about. I wasn't really paying attention to the mining or divination, but regardless, like I think the experience at this boss is actually not bad, especially the agility, right? But Silverhawks exist, so it's kind of downplayed, which is kind of a shame. It's such a pain in the ass to develop around Treasure Hunter, which is like essentially a pay to win thing. Because it ruins the progression system of the game. I just think that's another aspect that is kind of not talked about. So again, if someone's doing this boss with like 80 or 90 stats, like they can actually train this boss and get experience. And like it won't be the best experience, but it's experience plus you get that new experience and stuff. I will say, um, I think the biggest issue with this boss to me and why I think I was so disgruntled was group is really bad. So originally, like when I did the boss, I'm like, okay, it's way too easy in solo. I did a group, went from like 2-3 minute solos to 8, 12 minute group kills because if someone dies or someone's learning, someone's AFKing, losing ticks, it adds up quite quickly. Oh, sorry, I'm like about to burp or something. I do wish that like it says recommend group size 10, right? But I think it's just a show with a max group size. I feel I do know this boss was designed around solo, and that was but like I feel like every boss is designed around solo. Like Sanctum Rebirth, like was that really designed around 4 people? I don't think so. Um, I just think it's kind of a missed opportunity not to make it better in group, or like because so if they want to make it solo only, like or like design around solo, okay, you know what? That's you. But I feel like it's kind of a wasted opportunity in terms of content to not make group better because it's mostly just changing numbers. Like again, like if they wanted to be as I want to say lazy, but like I'm just saying low effort as possible, you can make the scaling like, oh, we're doing duo, that person adds 90% HP. A trio, that third person adds 80% HP. Oh, we're 9 man and we're gonna get plus one, 10% HP. I believe the total of that is 450%, right? Because some people say, oh, every person should just add 50% more HP, not 100%, and in total that would be 450%, right? And I kind of don't like that because then I don't think that. I mean, it kind of encourages higher group sizes, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't. I kind of like it when it's like exponential. We're like, okay, here's solo, and as you do get more people, it becomes better slash easier to do. I kind of like things like that because it also alleviates, like say it alleviates taking some guy who might not know what we're doing. It's like you're with 9 people, and hey, there's some guy with I don't know, 80 mining, they're new to PVM. Well, taking him isn't that bad because it's only going to gain 10% more HP. So, like, do you really care? I feel like it shouldn't be a question whether or not to take people. Taking more people, it should always be like with group content, should be like, yes, I want to do it. Like if they want to keep Talos a solo boss, that's fine. If they want to keep Raziel a solo boss, that's fine. But like, I still feel like they could have been done a little bit better. Like, like, oh, a hard mode that's a group mode or something like that, right? But I feel like with a boss like this, especially a scaling boss, that's like more like scaling is more community, in my opinion. And like people can talk. There's downtime. Like there's a lot of downtime. Like you just AFK, be like, oh hey man, I just think it's a missed opportunity. So I think that's the biggest thing that bothers me with this boss is just I kind of hope they still make group better. I've always hoped that they would make Sanctum of Rebirth better. They never did though, which is kind of disappointing, right? And I think they didn't do it because I'm not sure if they're busy. They might be busy because they wanted to update Warcraft more. They said, but then they apparently never did. But they want to now. It might just be something with time constraints because they're trying to stick to a schedule. And again, they're not. I mean, I'm not saying this to be mean, but again, they're not the top of the class developers at JetX. Like maybe they're stressed over the pay. Maybe economic times because economic times causes stress. Um, so maybe they will eventually make group mode better. Like maybe they'll do a scaling of like, oh, get duo plus 80% HP, trio 60% HP with the third person, four man plus 40. Like I want something like that. I don't like it when it's just 50% plus 50%. I want people to want to do higher group. I don't want to just be like, oh no, I'm fine with duo. I I would prefer that. So I guess that's. I mean, is that really it? Honestly, I wrote some notes here, but I think that's all I really want to say. I think the other thing, the closing note I want to say is, a friend of mine, he said that everyone, it kind of makes him sad because when you're at the boss, like outside the boss, and you see people entering, every person that goes in alone is just another person who like you aren't playing with. And isn't that kind of sad? Where like shouldn't you like imagine if me and the other guy or like those other people we talked and like, oh yeah, let's do group because it's better and easier. Like you want to do group, but instead everyone's just going solo, and it's like that friendship or bond or that interaction never occurs because it's not incentivized. And I think that was kind of a sad thought. And yeah, I just think that it's almost sad saying like that, right? I think the other thing is I do care about noobs. Some people don't think I don't care about noobs because of how much I trash talk necromancy, but it is overpowered. But it can stay easy. Um, you have to also think like of someone like newer to the game or doesn't play the game that much. Like say they play RuneScape like every month or every week they play RuneScape for like 2 or 4 hours a day, and they don't like PVM that much. Like like they would actually have a hard time at this boss. Like this boss is hard for some people, right? Because like not everyone understands the tick system. Not everyone understands. Like some people get panicked. Like again, who here used to do Jad back in the day, and when you got the Jad or as you were getting the Jad, you started shaking. I did. I used to shake at Jad. I used to struggle at Jad, which is nowadays a joke boss, and like that's kind of how they think. It's like bossing to a lot of people is like doing Jad. Like some people get nervous. I remember I used to sell Solak leeches, right? And I used to communicate with the person, run them through the whole kill, up until the end of the kill. And some of these people have their voice would shake. A lot of people are nervous. It might even be the social interaction along with bossing, like they don't want to screw up. So I don't know. I just think it's important to remember like everyone's human, honestly. And so overall, guys, my other closing comment is going to be: I think the boss is fine. The only changes I would want on this boss is make Ruma better. I would like an exponential growth with the or like decrease with the HP gain per player. So like going from 9 to 10 players, it's only 10% increase. Going from solo to duo is a 90% increase. I would prefer something like that. It can even be something like 80% and then 75 and 6. It can be something like that, and then like once we reach 5 people, then it goes down by 10%. It can be something like that even. So just so it maybe doesn't punish duo as much or something like that. So yeah, I guess that's it. Maybe give me your thoughts if you actually listen to all this. It's just kind of my thoughts on the boss. And because again, I said some comments like I was really should talk to this boss, but I just think it isn't designed around the. It's not to be the next Zamrak. It's not designed to be better than or like the hardest scaling boss in the world. You have to respect what it's being designed for, honestly, and because we don't see these players. We don't see these players that use these stuff. Like we don't. Okay, because everyone just goes to War of the Tree and says these are the people that exist. My bubble is what exists. So I will leave it at that. Maybe leave a comment. I do hope group content comes back more because I will say, even though this was made solo, I think it was a mistake to make a solo. I think this boss would be more appreciated if it was designed around 10 people, and if you had brought 5 people, the HP doesn't decrease. Like you have to bring 10 people. I honestly feel like there's nothing wrong with that as long as the content easy because this content's easy enough that you could do that. And yeah, I just think the RuneScape just needs a lot of its social aspect back. Is all. I don't know if they're ever gonna do that. I just think doing this whole solo balancing along with group balancing is really a pain in the ass. I think solo should just be the challenge, like how it used to be, where like, hey, you want to do solo Slack, you have to do a duo HP. Or you want to do AOD solo, you can do AOD solo, but she has the 3 million HP. And same with this boss, like this boss, I think this boss would be more respected and seen as more challenging if you had the HP was 10 times and you had to bring 10 people because it would take longer to discover all the tactics. And I think when people discover tactics, I think it would be more praise. Like, whoa, this team of 10 people discovered this method. Oh, like I think that would be cooler than like, oh, it's easy solo shit boss. You know, I'm just saying. I do think it is a mistake. They're constantly trying to appease the solo. Again, solo is like 95% of the game. Like group is so neglected. Like we need more group content, not solo group, but it's bad. So that's it. Bye bye. Hey guys. One thing I forgot to say is I've been doing this boss on 3 accounts, and I will say the the preferred method is actually go in 3 separate instances, right? And do the boss like start fight, start fight, start fight. So there's like a little bit of a lag between it, and just do the same thing 3 times. I think it's kind of weird that that's better to do than going in 3 at the same time. And if anything, it kind of demonstrates like the downfall of group. Like why are the mechanics so solo folk? I mean, again, it is a solo boss, but like I still feel like it's a missed opportunity where like it's better to go in separate instances than go in as group. You know. So I'm just gonna leave that there as well. It's just kind of funny that that's the case. So yeah, take that as you will.